Have you ever felt that your body no longer responds as before, but you don't know exactly why? Maybe you notice you get tired faster. Your legs sometimes feel heavy, or your energy decreases without apparent reason. What you don't know is that behind those seemingly harmless signs, there could be a silent threat affecting your blood circulation. Poor circulation does not always show obvious symptoms, especially when still in early stages. However, those invisible symptoms can be the precursor of serious problems that deeply impact not only your general health, but also intimate aspects of your life you thought were unchangeable. This slow, almost imperceptible deterioration is a phenomenon that often affects many men after 60. However, few know the direct relationship between poor circulation and the quality of their intimate life, self-esteem, and emotional well-being. Day to day, poor circulation can manifest with subtle signs: cold extremities, tingling chronic fatigue, or even slight leg pain when walking. But these discomforts are not simple annoyances. They are the warning signals your body sends when something is not working well in its vascular system. What if I told you that behind these silent signals is a process that affects not only mobility or comfort, but also erectile function, confidence, and emotional connection? Even more, what if you could do something to improve that circulation and, with it, regain some of the vitality and energy that seems to fade with age? Today I'm going to present you with an accessible, simple solution backed by scientific evidence and the wisdom of one of the most respected health experts, Mario Alonso Puig. And the best part is that it's not about expensive medications or invasive treatments, but an unexpected ally you probably have in your kitchen: sodium bicarbonate. Reaching 60 is a significant achievement and a moment to enjoy life fully. However, for many men, this stage also brings challenges affecting their intimate health and emotional well-being. Decreased sexual desire, difficulty maintaining an erection, and feelings of low energy are common complaints often treated as normal or inevitable aging consequences. But it doesn't have to be that way. The reality is that these intimate male problems, affecting life quality and relationships, are closely linked to vascular health and blood circulation. When blood vessels deteriorate, blood flow to vital organs like the penis is compromised, causing dysfunctions that affect intimacy and self-esteem. This not only impacts sexual life, but can also trigger psychological issues like anxiety, depression, and loss of confidence. Despite the importance of this topic, male intimate health remains taboo, and many men do not seek help due to shame or believing there is no solution. This situation worsens because poor circulation, the root of many of these problems, progresses silently until more severe symptoms appear, such as chest pain, extreme fatigue, or even cardiovascular events. That is why openly discussing this problem and understanding its causes is fundamental. Intimacy, energy, and vitality should not be lost with age. Here is where Mario Alonso Puig intervenes, a reference in medicine and personal development, offering a comprehensive perspective linking mind, body, and emotions to improve our quality of life after 60. Mario Alonso Puig is a medical surgeon with decades of experience, a lecturer, and author of several books that have transformed how many understand health. His approach is not limited to disease treatment, but integrates a profound understanding of how the human body, mind, and emotions function. For him, health is a dynamic state depending on how these three elements interact. In the context of poor circulation and male intimate health, Mario Alonso Puig highlights the importance of not resigning to aging, but seeking tools that allow vitality recovery, circulation improvement, and emotional well-being strengthening. He reminds us that the body has an amazing capacity for regeneration, and that with the right stimuli, it is possible to reverse or at least mitigate the effects of age. What makes Mario Alonso Puig unique is his ability to communicate complex concepts simply and practically, bringing us accessible, natural, and effective solutions closer. In his talks and writings, he has emphasized the relationship between circulation, nitric oxide, and erectile function, and how small lifestyle changes can make a big difference. That is why in this video we bring his wisdom applied to a natural remedy many people do not know, but which has proven to be a great ally for improving circulation and intimate health after 60: sodium bicarbonate. Throughout this series, we will explore how it works, what science says, and how to use it safely to regain energy, confidence, and well-being. Before continuing, I want to invite you to comment below if you're interested in improving your intimate health with natural remedies. This is a space to share, learn, and transform our quality of life without relying exclusively on drugs or invasive treatments. If you have ever felt that your energy is not the same, or that intimacy is no longer what it used to be, comment yes, or let us know your concerns. We want to know what topics interest you, what doubts you have, and what experiences you'd like to share. Remember that you are not alone on this journey, and that every small step we take together toward better health can bring enormous changes in our lives and those of our loved ones. So, don't hesitate to participate, because intimate health after 60 is possible, and you can be the protagonist of this transformation. Let's begin. Blood circulation is a vital system that allows oxygen, nutrients, and essential substances to be transported to every cell in the body, as well as removing waste products. When this system works properly, the body can maintain its functions efficiently, energy flows, and organs receive what they need to operate in balance. But what happens when circulation begins to fail? Poor circulation is a condition in which blood flow is hindered or reduced, which can be caused by different factors such as hardening of the arteries, plaque buildup, inflammation, or problems with venous valves. In older men, this condition gains particular relevance because, with age, blood vessels lose elasticity and become more prone to damage, reducing the efficiency of the circulatory system. This deterioration does not happen overnight. It is a slow and silent process that can start to manifest with symptoms many consider trivial or simply overlook. However, these early signs can be the first alert that something is not working well in the vascular system. Recognizing them in time is fundamental to prevent major complications and to improve quality of life. In older men, poor circulation can affect various areas of the body, and clinical manifestations tend to be diverse. For example, the legs are one of the most affected regions because they are farther from the heart, and their blood supply depends on efficient circulation and the force with which the heart pushes blood downward and then returns it to the heart through the veins. When this dynamic fails, discomfort often attributed to tiredness or simply the passage of time begins to appear. Among the most common manifestations in older men with poor circulation is a sensation of heaviness or tiredness in the legs, especially after standing or walking for long periods. Swelling in the ankles and feet may also appear, usually worsening at the end of the day. Another common sign is persistent coldness in the extremities, accompanied by tingling or numbness, as if the legs or feet fall asleep. These discomforts, though subtle, are clear indicators that blood flow is not optimal. Furthermore, the skin in affected areas may become drier, paler, or even bluish in tone due to insufficient oxygen reaching those tissues. In more advanced cases, varicose veins are dilated. Visible veins may appear, reflecting poor venous return. But even in the early stages, these signs should be taken seriously as they indicate a compromised circulatory system. It is important to highlight that poor circulation does not only affect the legs, it can also impact other parts of the body, such as the hands, face, and internal organs. In older men, this condition can manifest with generalized fatigue, difficulty concentrating, or weakness sensations, symptoms often attributed to age without considering their vascular origin. Therefore, knowing well what poor circulation is and how to recognize its early signs is key to being able to act in time. What causes poor circulation in older men? The aging process brings natural changes in the cardiovascular system. The arteries, which are the vessels carrying blood from the heart to the tissues, lose elasticity due to the accumulation of fatty deposits and the hardening of their walls, a condition known as arteriosclerosis. This hardening makes it difficult for arteries to dilate and contract properly to regulate blood flow. On the other hand, the veins, responsible for returning blood to the heart, also deteriorate. The valves that prevent blood backflow weaken, allowing blood to pool in the lower limbs, causing swelling and varicose vein formation. The combination of stiff arteries and veins with damaged valves generates an imbalance in circulation that, as it progresses, can cause increasingly noticeable discomfort. Risk factors accelerating poor circulation include unhealthy habits, such as sedentary lifestyle, smoking, poor diet, high blood pressure, diabetes, and obesity. Genetics also play an important role, as do certain chronic diseases affecting vascular health. It is therefore essential to be aware of these factors and, as much as possible, adopt preventive measures to reduce their impact. One of the major problems with poor circulation is that its initial symptoms are subtle and can be confused with normal wear or everyday fatigue. That's why many older men ignore these signs and do not seek medical help until the problem becomes evident or causes intense pain. For example, the sensation of heaviness in the legs is one of the most frequent symptoms and yet is often minimized. Many attribute this feeling to being tired or having weak muscles, without considering that it might be blood not flowing properly. This heaviness can be accompanied by a dull pain, a feeling of tension or fatigue that does not disappear with rest. Tingling or numbness in the extremities is another early sign that many do not associate with circulatory problems. This symptom occurs because nerves and tissues do not receive enough oxygen or nutrients due to poor blood flow. Lack of sensitivity or the feeling of pins and needles may be intermittent at first, but tend to become more constant if unattended. Changes in the skin, such as dryness, loss of shine, or the appearance of spots, are signs reflecting the impact of poor circulation on skin health. Although they may seem superficial, these changes indicate that blood supply to the skin is compromised, affecting its ability to renew and protect itself. Another common symptom is persistent coldness in the hands and feet, even in warm environments. This happens because the body fails to deliver enough warm blood to these areas, which can cause discomfort and increase the risk of infections or wounds that heal slowly. In some cases, there may be an increase in muscle cramps, especially at night. These cramps may be related to lack of oxygen in the muscles due to poor circulation, and although often considered normal in old age, their persistence deserves attention. It is also common for older men to experience general fatigue, difficulty concentrating, or weakness without an apparent cause. These symptoms may be linked to decreased blood flow to the brain and other vital organs. However, as they are nonspecific, they are often underestimated and simply attributed to age. Each of these manifestations, although mild, is a warning that the circulatory system is not functioning efficiently enough to maintain the body's optimal health. Ignoring them may allow poor circulation to progress, increasing the risk of complications such as leg ulcers, deep vein thrombosis, or even serious cardiovascular events. Moreover, the impact on quality of life can be considerable. Constant discomfort, fatigue, pain, or loss of sensitivity affect mobility, independence, and emotional well-being of those suffering. Recognizing these symptoms early and seeking medical advice or complementary therapies is the first step to improving circulatory health and preventing greater damage. When poor circulation progresses, its consequences extend beyond visible symptoms in legs and extremities. The damage it causes to the intimate and cardiovascular health of older men is profound and often goes unnoticed until it reaches considerable severity. Understanding these impacts is vital to recognize the importance of prevention and timely treatment. Male sexual function essentially depends on good circulatory health. For an erection to occur, it is essential that the arteries of the penis carry sufficient blood in quantity and speed to fill the corpora cavernosa, spongy tissues that expand to sustain the necessary rigidity. When arteries are damaged, hardened, or narrowed by arteriosclerosis or plaque buildup, blood flow is significantly reduced. This phenomenon leads to erectile dysfunction, a condition affecting many men over 60. Far from being a simple inevitable effect of aging, erectile dysfunction is a clear symptom that circulation is compromised. In fact, it is one of the first clinical signs warning of vascular problems that could lead to serious cardiovascular conditions, including heart attacks or strokes. The psychological impact of erectile dysfunction is profound. The man may experience frustration, anxiety, loss of self-esteem, and fears about his masculinity. This often affects the couple's relationship, causing distancing, misunderstandings, and deterioration of emotional intimacy. Furthermore, the anxiety caused by sexual incapacity can worsen condition, creating a vicious circle that hinders seeking help. On the other hand, decreased sexual desire, reduced sensitivity, and loss of response in the male reproductive system can also be related to poor circulation. These symptoms, although less visible than erectile dysfunction, significantly affect quality of life and emotional well-being of older men, impacting their overall health. Poor circulation affects the body's ability to adequately nourish genital tissues, which may also cause additional problems, such as dryness, irritation, or cold sensations. All this contributes to the sexual experience being affected, with consequences for personal perception and partner relationship. Therefore, male intimate health should not be considered in isolation, but as a sensitive indicator of overall vascular health. Recognizing that sexual difficulties may be a warning sign is a fundamental step for early detection of circulatory diseases and to implement prevention and treatment strategies that improve quality of life. Poor circulation not only impacts the intimate sphere, but is also a direct and constant threat to the cardiovascular system. Blood circulating through arteries and veins not only carries oxygen and nutrients, but also maintains balance and homeostasis of the body. When blood flow deteriorates, the heart is forced to work under adverse conditions to maintain irrigation of organs and tissues. Hardening and obstruction of the arteries increase resistance to blood flow, raising blood pressure. Hypertension, in turn, is an important risk factor for heart and cerebrovascular diseases. Under these conditions, the heart must pump harder, which can lead to hypertrophy, enlargement of the heart muscle, heart failure, and other disorders. Additionally, the presence of atherosclerotic plaques inside the arteries poses a critical risk. These plaques, formed by deposits of cholesterol, calcium, and other substances, can fragment, releasing material that causes blood clots to form. These clots can completely block blood flow, triggering myocardial infarctions or strokes, two leading causes of death in older men. Most concerning is that poor circulation can develop silently for years without noticeable symptoms until an emergency occurs. That is why this condition is known as a silent threat. Many men do not know their vascular health is compromised until they suffer a serious episode. Additionally, poor circulation is linked to other cardiovascular problems such as arrhythmia, heart rhythm disturbances, and peripheral artery disease, which affects the limbs and can cause pain, ulcers, and even amputations in extreme cases. The progressive deterioration of the circulatory system impacts not only physical health, but also independence and quality of life, limiting mobility and generating dependency. Therefore, prevention and treatment of poor circulation must be priorities in the health of older men. To gauge the severity of the problem, it is important to analyze statistical data showing the magnitude of poor circulation and its consequences on male health after 60. It is estimated that approximately half of men over 60 suffer some degree of erectile dysfunction. However, studies show that this condition is much more than a sexual problem, since in 70% of cases, it precedes the onset of cardiovascular diseases. This indicates that erectile dysfunction can act as an early marker to detect vascular problems, offering a valuable opportunity for prevention. Regarding cardiovascular diseases in general, they are the leading cause of death worldwide in men over 60. According to the World Health Organization, millions die each year from heart attacks, strokes, and other diseases related to poor circulation and hypertension. Moreover, peripheral vascular diseases affect between 10 and 20% of older adults, and this figure increases with age. Peripheral artery disease, which reduces blood flow in the limbs, is responsible for symptoms such as pain when walking and ulcers that heal slowly, increasing the risk of serious infections. Another concerning statistic is that less than 30% of men experiencing early symptoms of poor circulation or erectile dysfunction consult a healthcare professional. This is largely due to taboos, lack of knowledge, and underestimation of symptoms, delaying diagnosis and effective treatment. Hypertension, closely linked to poor circulation, affects more than 50% of men over 60. Without control, hypertension exponentially increases the risk of fatal cardiovascular events. Finally, the social and economic costs associated with poor circulation and its complications are enormous due to hospitalizations, prolonged treatments, and productivity loss. These costs could be significantly reduced with preventive measures and greater awareness about the importance of caring for circulation. Poor circulation is a silent threat that deeply affects the intimate and cardiovascular health of older men. The figures show it is a frequent and serious problem, but also that there's a real opportunity for early detection and action to improve quality of life. When we think of blood circulation, the first thing that comes to mind is the heart, that vital muscle that pumps blood, and the arteries and veins that transport this essential fluid throughout the body. However, there's a silent and fundamental protagonist often overlooked: the endothelium. This thin layer of cells lining the inside of all blood vessels plays a crucial role in regulating blood flow, vascular health, and preventing cardiovascular diseases. The endothelium is not simply a passive barrier separating blood from the vessel wall. It is a dynamic and multifunctional organ. It is composed of a single layer of endothelial cells covering the entire inner surface of arteries, veins, and capillaries, acting as an interface between blood and tissues. These cells can synthesize and release various chemical substances that regulate contraction and relaxation of blood vessels, control coagulation, modulate inflammation, and participate in the formation of new blood vessels, a process known as angiogenesis. Over time and due to multiple factors, the endothelium begins to deteriorate. This endothelial deterioration is a natural phenomenon linked to aging, but can be accelerated by unhealthy habits and chronic diseases. The progressive loss of endothelial function is one of the first steps in the development of cardiovascular diseases and a determining factor in poor circulation affecting many older men. Endothelial health largely depends on its ability to produce vasodilator and vasoconstrictor substances in balance. Among these substances, nitric oxide stands out, a molecular gas that acts as a powerful vasodilator, helping arteries and veins relax and allow adequate blood flow. However, with aging, oxidative stress, and chronic inflammation, nitric oxide production decreases, causing arterial stiffness, inflammation, and increased formation of atherosclerotic plaques. Endothelial damage begins to manifest at the molecular and cellular level. Factors such as high blood pressure, smoking, diabetes, and high cholesterol create a pro-inflammatory environment that damages endothelial cells. Additionally, excess free radicals, unstable molecules generated by metabolic processes or external exposures, such as pollution or tobacco, contribute to the oxidation and destruction of these cells. When the endothelium is damaged, its ability to produce nitric oxide is compromised. The reduction of this essential mediator has serious consequences. Blood vessels lose elasticity. Their ability to respond to changes in blood demand decreases, and adhesion of inflammatory cells and platelets to the arterial wall is facilitated. This process triggers a cascade of events culminating in the formation of atherosclerotic plaques, which obstruct blood flow and increase the risk of heart attacks and strokes. Furthermore, damaged endothelium contributes to a procoagulant state, favoring thrombus formation that can block arteries and cause acute cardiovascular events. Chronic inflammation, stimulated by endothelial damage, also affect the function of other organs and systems, amplifying a negative impact on overall health. In this context, nitric oxide is a forgotten messenger that plays a leading role. Discovered a few decades ago, its importance in vascular physiology revolutionized the understanding of how the circulatory system works. Nitric oxide is produced in endothelial cells from the amino acid L-arginine through the action of the enzyme nitric oxide synthase. This gaseous molecule diffuses rapidly to the smooth muscle cells surrounding blood vessels, inducing their relaxation and thus vasodilation. This vasodilation is fundamental to regulate blood pressure and ensure adequate blood flow to meet the metabolic needs of tissues. For example, during physical exercise, the body requires more oxygen and nutrients, so the endothelium releases nitric oxide to dilate vessels and increase flow. Without this ability, tissues suffer hypoxia and fatigue. But nitric oxide also has anti-inflammatory and antithrombotic effects. It inhibits platelet adhesion and activation, reduces cellular aggregation on arterial walls, and limits migration of inflammatory cells. All of this contributes to protecting arteries from damage and atherosclerotic plaque formation. When the production or availability of nitric oxide decreases, endothelial dysfunction occurs, marking the onset of vascular disease. This dysfunction is an early predictor of cardiovascular pathologies and a risk indicator detectable even before obvious symptoms appear. With aging, factors such as decreased enos enzyme activity, increased oxidative stress, and systemic inflammation reduce nitric oxide production. This partly explains why arterial stiffness and hypertension are such prevalent conditions in older individuals. On the other hand, certain habits and conditions accelerate this decline. Smoking, for example, generates free radicals that inactivate nitric oxide. Diabetes mellitus disrupts cellular signaling and contributes to oxidative stress. Obesity and poor diet promote a chronic inflammatory state that impairs endothelial function. Fortunately, the body has mechanisms to produce nitric oxide from external sources, such as nitrate and nitrite found in foods. These compounds can be converted into nitric oxide in the body, offering an alternative pathway to maintain adequate levels, especially when endogenous production is compromised. Additionally, research has identified various strategies to improve endothelial function and increase nitric oxide production, including regular exercise, intake of antioxidant-rich foods, and stress reduction. These interventions can help delay age-related vascular deterioration and improve overall circulatory health. In conclusion, the endothelium and nitric oxide form a complex and vital system for regulating blood flow and vascular health. Their deterioration with age is one of the main causes of poor circulation and cardiovascular diseases in older men. Recognizing their importance and adopting measures to protect and stimulate their function may be key to maintaining healthy circulation and better quality of life over the years. Understanding the connection between circulation and erectile function is fundamental to grasp how vascular health directly affects men's intimate quality of life, especially after 60. Erection is a complex process largely dependent on an efficient and healthy circulatory system, where the endothelium and nitric oxide play central roles. When these elements are compromised, the ability to achieve and maintain an erection is affected, resulting in what is known as erectile dysfunction. Erection occurs when the corpora cavernosa of the penis fills with blood, a process requiring relaxation of smooth muscle cells in the walls of penile arteries. This relaxation is mainly induced by nitric oxide released from the endothelium and nerve endings. Nitric oxide acts as a chemical messenger, activating a cascade of signals within muscle cells, causing cyclic GMP production, a compound that triggers muscle relaxation and blood vessel dilation. This mechanism allows blood to flow freely into the corpora cavernosa, filling them and producing the rigidity needed for erection. Simultaneously, veins that normally drain blood are compressed, preventing outflow and maintaining the erection. Any disruption in this process, from insufficient nitric oxide production to arterial stiffness, can hinder erection. When circulation deteriorates, the amount of blood reaching the penis decreases. This can result from endothelial damage, arterial obstruction, or vascular elasticity loss. Reduced blood flow affects not only the strength and duration of the erection, but also sensitivity and overall sexual response. Therefore, vascular health is a critical component of male sexual function, and erectile dysfunction may be an early sign of broader circulatory problems. This direct link between circulation and erection explains why many men with erectile dysfunction also have a higher risk of cardiovascular diseases. In fact, erectile dysfunction can precede serious cardiac events by several years, serving as a warning sign for timely detection and treatment of poor circulation. In light of this reality, vascular and sexual health experts have recommended various natural interventions aimed at improving circulation and thus erectile function and overall health. These interventions not only address symptoms, but also seek to restore endothelial health, increase nitric oxide production, and promote a healthy lifestyle that supports the circulatory system. One of the main recommendations is adopting a balanced diet rich in foods that boost nitric oxide production and contain antioxidants capable of reducing oxidative stress and vascular inflammation. Among these foods, leafy green vegetables like spinach and arugula stand out, which are rich in natural nitrates that the body can convert into nitric oxide. Also included are fruits like pomegranate, which scientific studies have shown to improve endothelial function, as well as nuts and seeds that provide healthy fats. Regular exercise is another fundamental pillar. Moderate physical activity stimulates nitric oxide release, improves arterial elasticity, and promotes cardiovascular health. Walking, swimming, practicing yoga, or resistance exercises are recommended activities that not only benefit circulation, but also have a positive impact on erectile function and overall well-being. Additionally, avoiding harmful habits such as smoking and excessive alcohol consumption is essential to protect the endothelium and maintain healthy circulation. These habits generate oxidative stress, inflammation, and vascular damage, accelerating endothelial deterioration and nitric oxide reduction. Natural supplements have also gained popularity and scientific support for their positive effects on vascular health and erectile function. Among them, Ginseng root extract, L-arginine, and citrulline are some of the most studied for their ability to increase nitric oxide production and improve blood flow. However, their use should be supervised by health professionals to ensure safety and efficacy. Stress management techniques, such as meditation, conscious breathing, and mindfulness, also help improve circulation. Chronic stress increases inflammation and blood pressure, damaging the endothelium and reducing nitric oxide production. Therefore, cultivating a balanced emotional state is an integral part of any strategy to improve vascular and sexual health. Finally, adequate hydration and body weight control are factors that complement these interventions. Maintaining a healthy weight reduces a load on the circulatory system and improves endothelial function, while good hydration promotes blood fluidity and nutrient delivery to tissues. Together, these natural interventions form a holistic approach that not only helps improve circulation and erectile function, but also contributes to healthy aging and cardiovascular disease prevention. Their consistent application, accompanied by medical supervision, can make a difference in the quality of life of older men. Erectile dysfunction is much more than difficulty achieving or maintaining an erection. It is a clinical sign with deep significance for men's overall health, especially after 60. For decades, this condition has been mainly viewed from a sexual or psychological perspective, but today we know its scope goes far beyond. Erectile dysfunction can often be an early predictor of serious cardiovascular problems, including heart attacks. Understanding this relationship can save lives and transform the approach to men's health. The medical basis linking erectile dysfunction with heart attacks lies in the common pathophysiology they share: vascular disease. For a proper erection to occur, optimal blood flow through the penile arteries is essential, depending on the integrity and function of the circulatory system. When circulation is compromised, the penis is one of the first organs to suffer because its vessels are small and any obstruction or endothelial damage results in a significant reduction in blood flow. The coronary arteries that supply the heart are larger than penile arteries, so vascular problems often manifest first in erectile function before the heart suffers obvious symptoms like chest pain. For this reason, erectile dysfunction can precede a heart attack even years earlier, serving as an early window to identify patients at risk. Numerous epidemiological studies have confirmed this association. Men with erectile dysfunction have been observed to have 2 to 5 times higher chances of suffering a cardiovascular event compared to those without this symptom. This has led medical organizations to recommend cardiovascular health evaluation in patients presenting erectile dysfunction, even if they have no other obvious risk factors. Endothelial damage and nitric oxide reduction are central mechanisms explaining this relationship. Damaged endothelium not only limits the penis's capacity to fill with blood, but also affects coronary artery function. This systemic vascular deterioration creates an environment favorable for plaque formation, chronic inflammation, and thrombosis, the main causes of heart attacks. Additionally, factors such as hypertension, diabetes, and smoking, which contribute to vascular damage, are common in men with erectile dysfunction. The simultaneous presence of these factors multiplies cardiovascular risk, making an integrated approach essential that considers all aspects of health. Beyond physiology, erectile dysfunction can be a catalyst for early detection and preventive intervention. Timely identification allows initiating lifestyle changes, medical treatments, and strategies to improve vascular function before serious cardiac events occur. This highlights the importance of both patients and healthcare professionals recognizing erectile dysfunction as a relevant clinical marker and not merely an isolated sexual problem. In this context, the teachings of Mario Alonso Puig provide a comprehensive vision that unites mind, body, and emotions to understand health as a whole. For Puig, erectile dysfunction not only reflects a vascular problem, but also an imbalance in the connection between mind and body, influencing the individual's capacity to maintain vitality and energy. Mario Alonso Puig, renowned physician and speaker, has emphasized the importance of understanding that health is not simply the absence of disease, but a dynamic state of balance and constant adaptation. According to him, the mind has enormous power to influence the body, and the way we think, feel, and relate to ourselves and others can modify physiological processes. This perspective is especially relevant in addressing erectile dysfunction, where emotional factors such as stress, anxiety, and low self-esteem can worsen or even trigger condition. Puig asserts that emotional and mental connection is a fundamental component to recover erectile function and, in general, overall health. Furthermore, Mario Alonso Puig emphasizes human capacity to transform health through awareness, self-knowledge, and habit change. This approach invites men to take an active role in their recovery process, recognizing that mind and emotions are powerful allies on the path to well-being. Within this framework, erectile dysfunction can be seen as an opportunity to pause, reflect, and make decisions benefiting not only sexual life, but also cardiovascular and emotional health. It is a call to action to adopt a healthier lifestyle, cultivate authentic relationships, and seek professional support when necessary. The integration of medical science with the human and emotional understanding proposed by Mario Alonso Puig offers an enriching and effective approach to addressing erectile dysfunction and its implications. Recognizing this connection can transform many men's experiences, providing hope and tools to improve their quality of life at all levels. Mario Alonso Puig's approach leads us to understand that well-being depends not only on biological factors, but is also influenced by how we perceive and manage our emotions and thoughts. This holistic paradigm is essential to explain why some men, even facing physiological problems, can significantly improve health with psychological support and attitude changes. Chronic stress, for example, activates the fight-or-flight response, releasing hormones like cortisol and adrenaline that negatively affect circulation and reduce nitric oxide production. This sustained response can further deteriorate the endothelium and worsen erectile dysfunction. Therefore, learning to manage stress through techniques such as meditation, conscious breathing, or psychological therapy is a key recommendation in comprehensive care. Likewise, self-image and self-esteem influence sexual response. Feeling capable, valued, and connected with one's partner and oneself enhances erectile function, while anxiety and insecurity can block it. Mario Alonso Puig highlights that cultivating a positive mind and compassionate self-talk helps break negative cycles and strengthens health. This mind-body approach also implies that erectile dysfunction treatment should include not only medical interventions, but also emotional support and education on healthy lifestyle habits. This combination can maximize results and improve overall well-being. Mario Alonso Puig invites viewing erectile dysfunction not as failure or condemnation, but as a message from the body calling us to deeply care for ourselves. This perspective humanizes experience and opens paths for transformation and personal growth. Erectile dysfunction represents much more than a simple physical difficulty. It is a phenomenon profoundly affecting emotional health and interpersonal relationships of those who suffer from it, especially from 60 years onward. The psychological impact generated by this condition can be devastating because it directly attacks essential aspects of male identity, self-esteem, and emotional connection with the partner. On an individual level, erectile dysfunction often triggers a set of negative emotions. Frustration is one of the first feelings, derived from unmet desire and the impact of the inability to maintain an adequate erection. This frustration can become chronic if the condition persists without solution, causing irritability, sadness, and a sense of personal failure. Performance anxiety is another central aspect. The anticipatory fear that the erection will not hold or be achieved can create tension that further blocks sexual function. This anxiety is not only mental, but produces real physiological changes, such as activation of the sympathetic nervous system, which prevents the necessary relaxation of penile muscles and reduces blood flow. At the same time, low self-esteem begins to take center stage. For many men, sexual ability is linked to their perception of virility and personal value. When this ability is compromised, an identity crisis occurs that can lead to deep feelings of inadequacy, insecurity, and shame. These feelings affect not only sexual life, but also other life areas, such as work, social relationships, and overall mental health. Depression is a common and dangerous consequence. Studies indicate that men with erectile dysfunction have a higher risk of developing depressive disorders, partly due to the combination of frustration, emotional isolation, and loss of sense of well-being. Depression, in turn, can worsen erectile dysfunction, creating a cycle that requires specialized intervention to break. In this context, the importance of emotional support and psychological therapy cannot be underestimated. Comprehensive care that includes addressing emotional aspects offers better results than exclusively medical treatment. Recognizing and validating emotions, learning to manage anxiety, and building a positive self-image are essential steps for recovery. Within the couple, erectile dysfunction can generate tensions and misunderstandings if not addressed with open communication and empathy. The partner may experience feelings of rejection, frustration, or guilt, and sometimes the situation can be interpreted as lack of interest or love, which deteriorates the relationship. However, when the partner becomes involved in the process, providing support and sharing concerns and emotions, a space opens to strengthen the bond and face the challenge together. Intimacy can transform into a ground of trust and growth beyond strict sexual function. Couples therapy is a valuable tool to facilitate this communication and rebuilding. In these spaces, both members can express their fears, desires, and expectations, learning to adapt and value different forms of intimate connection that do not rely exclusively on erection. This helps reduce pressure on the man and cultivates a richer and more satisfying relationship. Many couples have found in the joint search for solutions an opportunity to renew their relationship and deepen their affection, showing that erectile dysfunction, although difficult, does not have to be an impediment to love and connection. To illustrate the variety of experiences and approaches, it is valuable to share real testimonies reflecting the emotional and practical journey of men and couples who have faced erectile dysfunction. These stories bring hope and show possible paths toward recovery and well-being. For example, Juan, a 65-year-old man, recounts that at first he felt devastated and isolated after experiencing sexual problems he had never had. "I felt I was losing my masculinity and feared my relationship would end," he confesses. However, with the support of his wife and guidance from a sex therapist, they learned to communicate better and explore other forms of intimacy. "We not only recovered our sex life, but also strengthened our emotional bond," he adds. Another testimony is Luis, 70 years old, who explains that erectile dysfunction was for him the first sign of a deeper problem. "I didn't know my heart was at risk until my doctor explained it to me. I changed my lifestyle, exercise, and improved my diet. I also attended therapy to manage anxiety. Now I feel stronger and more confident." Luis highlights that understanding the link between vascular health and sexual function was key to taking concrete actions. Maria, Roberto's wife, shares from the partner's perspective. "At first, I didn't understand what was happening and felt frustrated. But when we began to speak honestly, everything changed. We sought help together and learned that love goes beyond sex. Now we have a deeper and more authentic relationship." These testimonies show that erectile dysfunction is a multidimensional problem affecting emotions, relationships, and physical health, and that addressing it requires commitment and support. The combination of emotional support, lifestyle changes, and medical treatments can lead to positive results and restore quality of life. In many cases, simply breaking the silence and speaking openly about erectile dysfunction reduces emotional burden and opens paths to recovery. Society still faces taboos and stigmas that hinder this communication, so promoting education and empathy is fundamental. Shared experience also helps normalize the condition, showing that it is not a sign of weakness or failure, but common and treatable problem. This understanding reduces shame and encourages seeking professional help. Ultimately, erectile dysfunction is a complex challenge involving body, mind, and relationships, but can be overcome with a comprehensive approach, mutual support, and a positive attitude. Listening to and learning from those who have lived this experience provides hope and guidance for those facing it. If you identify with what we have discussed about erectile dysfunction and its impact on health and relationships, do not hesitate to share your experience or questions in the comments. This is a safe space to talk, learn, and support each other. Remember that seeking help is the first step to improving your overall well-being. Take the courage to make that step today. In the quest to improve circulation and intimate health after 60, many people turn to complex remedies, costly medications, or invasive treatments. However, there is an unexpected, accessible, and affordable ally gaining attention in natural health: sodium bicarbonate. Although commonly known as a cooking ingredient or a home remedy for stomach acidity, its potential to support vascular health and, therefore, intimate function is backed by research and success stories that deserve detailed exploration. Sodium bicarbonate chemically known as sodium bicarbonate, is an alkaline salt that releases ions when dissolved in water, helping to neutralize acidity. Its ability to balance body pH and act as a buffer makes a compound with multiple therapeutic applications. Simply put, it works by counteracting acidic environments that can damage tissues and alter cellular functions, including those related to circulation. The body's pH is a crucial indicator of its health status. The human body maintains a tightly regulated acid-base balance, and when this balance shifts toward acidity, unfavorable conditions are created for optimal function of cells and systems, including the vascular system. Chronic acidosis can arise from factors such as a diet rich in processed foods, constant stress, inflammation, sedentary lifestyle, and certain chronic pathologies. These conditions create an internal environment where cells cannot perform their functions efficiently, contributing to circulatory system deterioration. Sodium bicarbonate helps regulate this pH, favoring a more alkaline environment that can contribute to tissue repair and proper functioning. By neutralizing excess acidity, it helps maintain cellular integrity and reduce inflammatory processes that compromise vascular health. This property is essential, as chronic inflammation is one of the main enemies of the endothelium, the inner layer blood vessels that regulate circulation. In the circulatory context, this acid-base balance adjustment is especially relevant. Blood vessels, endothelial cells, and surrounding tissues function better in a balanced pH environment. The moderate alkalinization promoted by sodium bicarbonate can help reduce inflammation, a key factor in vascular deterioration and poor circulation. Moreover, this compound may aid in eliminating toxins and metabolic waste that affect artery and vein health, contributing to a better environment for regeneration and repair of vascular tissues. The action of sodium bicarbonate is not limited to its effect on pH. Recent studies have begun to reveal that this compound can influence microcirculation, improving capillaries' capacity to transport oxygen and nutrients. This is especially beneficial in tissues often affected by poor circulation, such as lower limbs and intimate organs, where adequate oxygenation is vital for function and recovery. Various scientific studies have evaluated the effect of sodium bicarbonate on human health, focusing on its properties to improve cardiovascular and metabolic function. For example, research in patients with renal failure has shown that controlled administration of bicarbonate can help correct metabolic acidosis, a problem affecting vascular health and cellular function. Although the context is different, these studies demonstrate bicarbonate's ability to positively influence acid-base balance and thus systemic health. Additionally, in sports and physical activity, sodium bicarbonate is recognized for its ability to delay muscle fatigue, increasing performance and endurance. This effect is related to neutralizing lactic acid, which accumulates during intense exercise and limits muscle and circulatory function. Although this application is different, it provides evidence of bicarbonate's capacity to modulate metabolic processes and improve body efficiency. Directly related to circulation and intimate function, some studies have explored using sodium bicarbonate to improve tissue oxygenation and blood vessels' capacity to respond to variable demands. These studies suggest that by optimizing the acid-base environment and reducing inflammation, bicarbonate can contribute to better endothelial health, which in turn favors circulation. Moderate alkalinization favors arterial flexibility and improves endothelial function, essential for efficient circulation. The positive impact of sodium bicarbonate is not only reflected in scientific theory, but also in real cases of people who have incorporated this compound into their health routines and experienced significant improvements. There are testimonies of older men who have used sodium bicarbonate to support their circulation and intimate function, reporting increased energy, better capacity to maintain sexual relationships, and a general sense of well-being. Although anecdotal evidence should always be complemented with medical supervision, these stories offer an encouraging view of bicarbonate's potential. These success cases, while not substitutes for professional medical care, provide an encouraging and practical perspective on how a simple and economical remedy can complement conventional treatments and contribute to improving quality of life. The accessibility and low cost of sodium bicarbonate make it a viable option for many people seeking natural alternatives to improve their health. In some of these testimonies, people highlight the ease of use, accessibility, and absence of bothersome side effects as important advantages of sodium bicarbonate. The positive experience combines with scientific evidence to offer an attractive option for those seeking to improve their circulation and intimate health naturally. The growing popularity of sodium bicarbonate in the health field has also generated interest in the medical community, which recognizes a need for more studies to deeply understand its mechanisms and applications. Meanwhile, its moderate and supervised use has established itself as a safe and effective practice in multiple contexts. Additionally, preliminary research suggests that sodium bicarbonate could improve the body's ability to manage oxidative stress, which is one of the main causes of cellular aging and vascular damage. Acting as a buffer, it helps reduce the accumulation of free radicals, unstable molecules that damage cells and tissues, including blood vessels. This indirect antioxidant property may contribute to preserving circulatory system health and, by extension, intimate function. In summary, sodium bicarbonate emerges as an unexpected ally that can support circulatory health and intimate function, especially in older men facing the challenges of vascular aging. Its ability to balance pH, reduce inflammation, improve microcirculation, and combat oxidative stress makes it a valuable resource worth knowing and considering within a holistic wellness approach. It is essential to understand that sodium bicarbonate is not a miracle cure, but another tool within a set of habits and practices that promote health. Its use should be accompanied by a balanced diet, regular physical activity, and appropriate medical supervision, especially in people with chronic conditions or taking medications. Knowing this ally and how to safely incorporate it can make a significant difference in quality of life and vitality, offering a natural and economical option for those wishing to improve circulation and intimate well-being after 60. Sodium bicarbonate, mainly known for its use in cooking and home remedies to relieve stomach acidity, has emerged as a compound of interest in improving blood circulation, particularly in tissue oxygenation and arterial dilation. These two aspects are crucial for maintaining efficient circulation, especially in older men facing the challenges of vascular aging and its consequences on intimate and cardiovascular health. Tissue oxygenation is a vital process that directly depends on the quantity and quality of blood flow, as well as the blood's capacity to transport and release oxygen to cells. Sodium bicarbonate contributes to optimizing this process indirectly but effectively. First, bicarbonate acts by regulating the body's acid-base balance. An adequate blood pH is fundamental for hemoglobin, the protein responsible for oxygen transport in red blood cells, to efficiently release oxygen to tissues. When the blood becomes too acidic, as occurs in metabolic stress, illness, or aging, this capacity decreases. By neutralizing excess acidity, sodium bicarbonate helps maintain an optimal pH that favors oxygen release. This means that even if the oxygen amount in the blood remains constant, the actual availability to cells increases, improving their function and energy. Moreover, bicarbonate can improve microcirculation, the blood flow in the smallest capillaries, where the real exchange of oxygen and nutrients occurs. Microcirculation is especially vulnerable in people with poor circulation or chronic diseases, and its improvement can have a significant impact on overall health, tissue recovery, and organ function. By enhancing microcirculation and oxygenation, bicarbonate helps tissues, including muscles, skin, and intimate organs, receive adequate supply to maintain health and functional capacity. This improvement translates into greater vitality, less fatigue, and a better bodily response to daily demands. Arterial dilation is another fundamental mechanism to optimize circulation. Blood vessels can expand and contract to regulate blood flow according to the body's needs. When this capacity is lost, as occurs with aging and endothelial damage, circulation becomes inefficient and the heart must work harder to maintain flow. Sodium bicarbonate contributes to improving arterial dilation through its alkalizing action. By reducing blood and tissue acidity, it decreases inflammation and oxidative stress that negatively affect endothelial function, the inner layer of blood vessels responsible for regulating vascular tone. Healthy endothelial function involves the proper production of vasodilator substances, mainly nitric oxide. By protecting the endothelium, bicarbonate facilitates the production and action of these mediators, promoting relaxation of the smooth muscles surrounding the arteries and allowing their expansion. This vasodilation reduces resistance to blood flow, improves blood pressure, and increases tissue perfusion. In practice, This means blood can circulate more easily, delivering oxygen and essential nutrients to all parts of the body, including vital organs and the male intimate area. Improved arterial dilation also reduces the load on the heart. By lowering the pressure, it must overcome to pump blood. This is especially beneficial in older men who may have hypertension or arterial stiffness, conditions that increase cardiovascular risk. Together, sodium bicarbonate's ability to promote oxygenation and arterial dilation positions this compound as a valuable resource to support circulation, especially when combined with other healthy habits. Although sodium bicarbonate offers multiple potential benefits for circulatory health and intimate function, it is essential to recognize that it is not without risks or limitations. Using it incorrectly or without supervision can cause adverse effects that must be seriously considered. One of the main contraindications of sodium bicarbonate relates to its sodium content. Each gram of bicarbonate provides a significant amount of sodium, which can be harmful to people with hypertension, kidney failure, heart diseases, or fluid retention. In these cases, high consumption can worsen blood pressure, increase edema risk, and complicate clinical management. For this reason, patients with these conditions must consult a health professional before adding sodium bicarbonate to their routine, and its use should be supervised to adjust doses and avoid complications. Another relevant risk is developing metabolic alkalosis, a disorder in which body pH rises above normal due to excess alkaline substances like bicarbonate. Alkalosis can cause symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, confusion, irritability, tremors, and, in severe cases, heart rhythm disturbances. This risk increases with excessive or prolonged use without medical control. Additionally, sodium bicarbonate can cause gastrointestinal discomfort, including bloating, gas, and abdominal pain, especially when taken in high doses or without proper dissolution. These discomforts can limit tolerance and adherence in some individuals. Another uncomfortable truth is that bicarbonate is not a panacea nor a miracle treatment. Its benefits are real but modest and must be understood within a comprehensive health approach. It does not replace the need for a balanced diet, regular physical exercise, stress management, and control of chronic diseases. It also does not substitute medical treatments prescribed by professionals for vascular or sexual conditions. Sodium bicarbonate acts as a complement that can enhance results when used properly and responsibly, but its effectiveness largely depends on the overall health context and lifestyle habits. Moreover, the quality of the bicarbonate is a factor that should not be overlooked. Not all marketed products are suitable for human consumption. Some are intended exclusively for industrial or domestic uses. Using low-quality or non-food grade sodium bicarbonate may expose a person to contaminants or impurities that could be harmful. Therefore, it is essential to acquire certified food or medical-grade sodium bicarbonate, ensuring purity and safety. Finally, the use of sodium bicarbonate must be adapted to individual characteristics. Not everyone will respond the same, and some may require adjusted doses, or even avoid its consumption. Medical supervision is key to determining the correct dose, frequency, and duration of treatment. Sodium bicarbonate is a valuable tool with potential to improve oxygenation and arterial dilation, supporting circulatory health and intimate function. However, its use must be prudent, informed, and supervised to avoid risks and maximize benefits within a comprehensive wellness plan. Sodium bicarbonate, despite being a simple and very accessible compound, must be used properly to harness its benefits in improving circulation and intimate health, especially in men over 60. To achieve this, it is crucial to know the recommended ways of consumption, adequate amounts, optimal timing, and necessary precautions to ensure safe and effective use. Sodium bicarbonate can be consumed in various ways, but not all are equally effective or safe for improving circulation and vascular function. The most common and recommended form is oral intake dissolved in water, which facilitates absorption and reduces possible gastrointestinal discomfort. To prepare the solution, it is recommended to dissolve a small amount of bicarbonate, generally a teaspoon or less, in a glass of water, approximately 200 to 250 milliliters. It is important to mix well so the bicarbonate dissolves completely and to avoid ingesting the powder directly, as this can cause irritation in the mouth and esophagus. Another option, although less common, is to include sodium bicarbonate in homemade culinary recipes, such as dressings or alkaline beverages, always keeping recommended doses to avoid excessive intake. This approach can be attractive for those seeking more natural and pleasant ways to incorporate it into their daily diet. Some also choose to combine bicarbonate with natural juices rich in antioxidants or nitrates, such as beetroot or pomegranate juice, intending to enhance its effects on circulation. However, this practice should be done knowledgeably and preferably under professional supervision, as interactions can vary depending on individual health. It is important to avoid mixing with acidic substances in large amounts, as this can cause excessive effervescence and digestive discomfort. Therefore, it is advisable to follow preparation instructions and avoid improvisations that may jeopardize bicarbonate tolerance. Dosage is one of the most important aspects for safe and effective use of sodium bicarbonate. Although it is an over-the-counter and easily accessible product, excessive consumption can cause adverse effects. Thus, it is essential to adhere to expert-recommended amounts and adjust them according to individual needs and conditions. For most healthy adults, a commonly accepted dose to improve circulation and support general health is approximately 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of sodium bicarbonate dissolved in a glass of water once or twice a day. This amount is usually sufficient to exert a moderate and beneficial alkalizing effect without exceeding safe sodium intake. In some cases, and under medical supervision, the dose can be increased up to 1 teaspoon daily, divided into several doses. However, exceeding this amount without professional evaluation is not recommended, as it may increase the risk of side effects. For individuals with special conditions or taking medications, the dose must be carefully adjusted to avoid interactions or complications. The key is to start with low doses and progressively increase, observing the body's response and consulting a specialist. It is also important to consider the duration of consumption. Sodium bicarbonate should not be used continuously and indiscriminately, but in cycles or defined periods to avoid imbalances in the body and maintain its effectiveness. For example, usage cycles of 1 to 2 weeks followed by a break may be appropriate, though this pattern should be personalized according to each case. The time of day sodium bicarbonate is consumed can influence its absorption and the efficacy of its effects. Many experts suggest taking it on an empty stomach or at least with an empty stomach to maximize its alkalizing action and avoid interference with food. Taking sodium bicarbonate on an empty stomach, preferably in the morning, can help regulate pH from the start of the day, improving the metabolic environment for vascular and overall function. Additionally, the first dose of the day can help counteract acidity accumulated overnight. A second dose can be taken between meals or before dinner, always ensuring an interval of at least 2 hours after meals to avoid interaction with digestion. This allows maintaining a constant alkalizing effect throughout the day. It is advisable to avoid consuming bicarbonate just before or after heavy or very acidic meals to prevent interference with digestion or gastrointestinal discomfort. Regarding nighttime consumption, some people prefer to avoid it to prevent possible stomach discomfort during the night or the need to get up to use the bathroom. However, this decision can be adapted to personal preferences and individual tolerance. Although sodium bicarbonate is generally safe when used in appropriate doses, there are some important precautions to avoid risks and maximize benefits. First, sodium bicarbonate suitable for human consumption should always be used, preferably in food-grade or pharmaceutical form, to guarantee purity and absence of contaminants. It is essential to completely dissolve the bicarbonate in water before ingesting it to minimize irritation in the mouth, esophagus, and stomach. Taking it directly as powder can cause discomfort or damage to the mucous membranes. Concurrent use with other medications should be consulted with a professional, as bicarbonate may alter the absorption or effectiveness of certain drugs, especially those affecting acid-base balance or kidney function. It is not recommended to exceed the daily recommended dose to avoid side effects such as metabolic alkalosis, sodium-induced hypertension, or digestive discomfort. People with chronic conditions such as hypertension, kidney disease, heart failure, or metabolic disorders should consult their doctor before starting bicarbonate consumption to assess risks and adjust doses. Regular monitoring of blood pressure and blood electrolytes is advised if bicarbonate is used for prolonged periods or high doses to detect any alterations in time. Sodium bicarbonate should be considered a complement within an integral health approach that includes a balanced diet, exercise, stress management, and medical follow-up. It should not replace prescribed treatments, nor be the sole strategy to improve circulation or intimate function. Although sodium bicarbonate is presented as an accessible and effective option to improve circulation and support intimate health, it is important to understand that not everyone can use it without precautions. There are specific populations who should avoid its use or do so only under strict medical supervision, since bicarbonate can negatively affect certain pre-existing conditions due to its sodium content and its effect on the body's acid-base balance. For example, people with high blood pressure must be very cautious because sodium can raise blood pressure, further compromising cardiovascular health. Likewise, those with kidney failure, where the ability to eliminate sodium and other electrolytes is diminished, may accumulate it and trigger serious complications. The same applies to patients with congestive heart failure, since sodium can worsen fluid retention, increasing the burden on the heart and aggravating symptoms. It is essential that these groups consult their doctor before beginning any protocol that includes bicarbonate. Additionally, the use of bicarbonate is not recommended for pregnant or breastfeeding women, as its effect on pH and electrolytes can disrupt the balance necessary for the healthy development of the baby. In the case of children, especially those under 12 years old, administration should be avoided or very carefully controlled due to the immaturity of their metabolic and renal systems, which may not handle excess sodium and changes in bodily pH well. There are also individuals with allergies or hypersensitivity to sodium bicarbonate who may experience adverse reactions such as skin rashes, difficulty breathing, or swelling. These people should avoid its use and seek alternatives. On the other hand, those with electrolyte imbalances, such as hyponatremia or hypokalemia, should manage their intake carefully, as bicarbonate can worsen these imbalances. Similarly, those taking certain medications that interact with blood pH or mineral absorption should consult their doctor to avoid interference or side effects. Considering these restrictions, sodium bicarbonate can be a valuable and safe tool for those able to use it, as long as the appropriate doses and recommendations are followed. Medical supervision is indispensable to personalize treatment and avoid unnecessary risks. Regarding positive effects, there are numerous testimonials supporting the use of sodium bicarbonate as a complement to improve circulation and overall vitality. Many people have reported significant changes in their daily energy, sense of well-being, and ability to perform physical activities without excessive fatigue after responsibly starting bicarbonate consumption. Some men, in particular, have noted improvements in their sexual function, reporting greater ease in maintaining erections and an increase in desire and confidence. These accounts, although anecdotal in nature, are valuable because they reflect the real experience of those who have incorporated this remedy into their routine. It is common to hear that bicarbonate, combined with dietary changes and regular exercise, contributes to a general feeling of rejuvenation and improvement in peripheral circulation. People who previously suffered from tired legs, sensations of cold, or fatigue notice an improvement in circulation and recovery after exertion. However, it is crucial to emphasize that these testimonials do not replace scientific evidence or medical consultation. Every organism responds differently, and bicarbonate is not a magic solution that works equally for everyone. The key lies in its responsible use within a comprehensive health plan and with appropriate monitoring. Likewise, some users highlight that sodium bicarbonate is an accessible and inexpensive resource, which facilitates its incorporation into daily life without generating high costs. This is especially important for those seeking natural alternatives to complement their treatment or prevent vascular deterioration. In conclusion, although it is not suitable for everyone, sodium bicarbonate can be an important ally to improve circulation and support intimate health when used correctly. Positive testimonials encourage considering it as part of an integrated wellness strategy, always respecting contraindications and under professional guidance. In this way, its benefit can be maximized and risks minimized, achieving a better quality of life and greater vitality after 60 years of age. When we talk about health and wellness, especially in advanced stages of life, we tend to think primarily about physical and chemical aspects, such as diet, exercise, or medication. However, an essential and often underestimated component is the role mental attitude and neuroplasticity play in the aging process and the ability to recover and improve the body. The mind-body connection is profound, and understanding how our mind influences our health can be as vital as the remedies we use, including sodium bicarbonate. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize, adapt, and form new neural connections throughout life. This ability allows learning, healing, and modifying patterns of thought, behavior, and emotional response, even at advanced ages. Contrary to the common belief that the brain becomes rigid with age, neuroplasticity shows that it is always possible to change and improve. This brain adaptability is key to integral health, because our emotions, thoughts, and attitudes influence the production of hormones, neurotransmitters, and mediators that affect fundamental biological processes, including blood circulation and vascular function. For example, a positive attitude and proper stress management can reduce systemic inflammation, improve endothelial function, and promote nitric oxide release, contributing to better circulation and cardiovascular health. Sodium bicarbonate can act as a physical and chemical support to improve circulation, but without a favorable mental attitude and balanced emotional state, its effects may be limited. The mind can enhance or block the benefits we seek at the physical level, which is why cultivating an active, optimistic mindset open to change is fundamental to maximize results. Neuroplasticity also allows healthy habits to consolidate more easily when integrated into an internal narrative that values health and wellness. In this sense, the brain responds to the repetition of positive behaviors and thoughts by strengthening associated neural connections, which facilitates maintaining these habits long-term. Conversely, negative or limiting thought about aging can generate chronic stress, disrupt hormonal balance, and favor inflammatory processes that harm circulation and vascular function. These processes can affect the physical response to bicarbonate and other interventions, hindering recovery and improvement. Many people, especially after 60 years, carry an internal narrative about aging that includes ideas of decline, loss of vitality, and resignation to illness. This narrative conditions how they face the physical and emotional changes that come with time, directly influencing their health and well-being. Rewriting this narrative is a transformative process that involves questioning limiting beliefs and replacing them with a more positive and empowering vision. It means recognizing that aging is a natural stage, but not without potential for growth, improvement, and full quality of life. A renewed narrative about aging incorporates the idea that it is possible to maintain and improve health, energy, and bodily function through proper habits, emotional support, and a mind open to change. This mindset shift can modify the biological response to stress, improve motivation to adopt healthy habits, and enhance the effectiveness of interventions, such as sodium bicarbonate consumption. In this process, neuroplasticity plays a fundamental role, as it allows the brain to adapt to new ways of thinking and feeling, breaking cycles of negative thoughts and fostering an attitude of hope and action. Practices such as meditation, positive visualization, and reflective writing are useful tools to reprogram the internal narrative. The comprehensive approach that combines physical care with mental and emotional work generates powerful synergies. For example, by improving circulation with sodium bicarbonate and simultaneously cultivating a positive attitude and emotional management, a favorable internal environment is created for vascular health, innate function, and overall well-being. This change in narrative also impacts the relationship with the body and self-image. Instead of seeing oneself as a body that ages and deteriorates, the person begins to perceive themselves as a living, adaptable organism capable of regeneration and responding to healthy stimuli. This perception reinforces motivation to take care of oneself and persevere on the path to health. Ultimately, the power of the mind and neuroplasticity allows it to be possible at any age to rewrite the personal story about aging and build a healthier and fuller reality. Sodium bicarbonate, as a physical ally, is enhanced in this positive mental context, facilitating the improvement of circulation and intimate function. Profound change in our health and well-being does not always require radical or complex transformations. Often, daily micro-changes can trigger great results. This simple yet powerful idea is key to understanding how small adjustments in habits, thoughts, and actions can significantly impact circulatory health and intimate vitality, especially in older adults. Adopting a perspective that values these small steps is fundamental to sustaining a constant and lasting improvement process. Micro changes can be as simple as incorporating the proper consumption of sodium bicarbonate into the daily routine, choosing a short walk each day, dedicating a few minutes to conscious breathing exercises, or shifting the internal narrative toward a more positive and hopeful one. Each of these actions, although small, contributes to creating a cumulative effect that strengthens circulation, improves vascular function, and promotes an emotionally balanced state. Mario Alonso Puig, a physician and speaker recognized for integrating science and personal development, emphasizes that these small changes are the foundation for sustainable transformation. According to him, the key lies in consistency and conscious intention, understanding that the body and mind are in constant dialogue, and that any positive stimulus can open paths toward regeneration and well-being. This philosophy resonates with the principles of neuroplasticity and the mind-body connection. When we repeat healthy habits and cultivate positive thoughts, we are literally reprogramming our brain and body to function better. Each micro change is a seed that, with patience and dedication, blooms into tangible improvements. Furthermore, Mario Alonso Puig highlights the importance of self-observation and self-compassion in this process. Rather than judging setbacks or difficulties, he invites accepting them as a natural part of learning and growth. This attitude helps maintain motivation and avoid falling into abandonment patterns that hinder goal achievement. The mind-body connection, which has been the subject of numerous scientific studies in recent years, also finds a special place in practical spirituality. This approach recognizes that we are not just a physical body, but an integral being where consciousness, emotions, and vital energy influence physical health. From this perspective, vascular health and intimate function reflect a broader balance that includes emotional and spiritual well-being. Circulation is not just a flow of blood, but also a flow of energy that sustains life and vitality. Mario Alonso Puig has delved into this integration, explaining how mindfulness, connection with the present, and the cultivation of positive emotions have a direct effect on the regulation of the autonomic nervous system, inflammation, and cellular repair. In his lectures, he highlights that a serene and focused mind can modulate gene expression, improve immune response, and strengthen the cardiovascular system. This holistic vision invites us to see sodium bicarbonate not only as a chemical compound that helps alkalize the body, but as part of a set of practices that include attitude, self-knowledge, and applied spirituality to promote health from multiple levels. For example, integrating moments of meditation, breathing exercises, and conscious reflection into the daily routine can enhance bicarbonate's action by reducing stress, decreasing inflammation, and improving sleep quality, all factors that directly impact circulation and intimate function. Thus, science and practical spirituality converge to offer a comprehensive path where body and mind work in harmony to restore and maintain vitality. Mario Alonso Puig reminds us that health is a dance between the tangible and intangible, and by attending to both aspects, we create optimal conditions for regeneration and well-being. Micro changes, driven by conscious attitude and accompanied by practices that integrate body, mind, and spirit, are the key to transforming our life experience, improving circulation, and enhancing intimate function at any age. Sodium bicarbonate, within this framework, becomes a complementary physical ally that, together with the power of the mind and intention, opens the door to full and renewed health. The story of Jose, a 65-year-old man who faced a serious health challenge, is a clear example of the transformative power that knowledge, attitude, and proper support can have when combined with accessible resources like sodium bicarbonate. Before his transformation, Jose had begun experiencing common symptoms in older men: constant fatigue, a feeling of coldness in his legs, difficulties in his intimate life, and a general state of exhaustion that seemed relentless. Like many, he had assumed these were inevitable signs of aging, a kind of unavoidable fate. However, a chance encounter with information about the importance of acid-base balance and vascular health led him to explore the use of sodium bicarbonate as a supplement in his daily routine. Under medical supervision, he began incorporating small doses diluted in water, accompanied by simple dietary changes and the adoption of gentle walks. What happened in the following months was more than just symptom relief. Jose experienced a remarkable increase in his energy, a recovery of lost vitality, and with it, a significant improvement in his circulation. His skin regained its normal tone and temperature, the feeling of heaviness in his legs disappeared, and his intimate life began to revitalize, restoring his confidence and satisfaction. But the most important change was in his attitude. Jose stopped feeling resigned to aging and began seeing himself as an active agent in his own health. He recognized that it is never too late to make significant changes, and that, with the right knowledge, he can regain control of his well-being. This story is a testament to the real and positive impact that sodium bicarbonate can have when used responsibly and accompanied by an open and determined mind. This experience holds a profound truth. It is never too late if you know what you are doing. Age alone does not determine the destiny of our health, nor our capacity to improve it. Although the passage of time brings natural changes, these do not have to be synonymous with inevitable decline. Current science and clinical experience show that with the right strategies, it is possible to reverse or mitigate many of the effects of aging, especially when approached comprehensively. This statement implies adopting an informed approach, where the biological processes involved are understood and specific measures are applied to positively influence them. Sodium bicarbonate is an example of how a simple intervention can be part of this arsenal of tools that improve circulation, reduce inflammation, and promote vascular health. To recover energy and confidence after 60, it is essential to understand some keys proven by experts and real experiences. The first key is commitment to self-care. Recognizing that health is a dynamic process requiring constant attention, and that our daily actions have a direct impact, is the starting point for any transformation. The second key is consistency. Results are rarely immediate, but with perseverance and patience, positive changes manifest and consolidate. Incorporating sodium bicarbonate as part of a stable routine, along with healthy eating and adaptive physical activity, creates a virtuous circle that enhances vitality. The third key is adaptation. Each person is unique and requires personalized adjustments in lifestyle and treatments. Listening to one's own body, respecting its timing and needs, and adapting practices according to individual response ensures safe and effective progress. The fourth key is emotional balance. The mind and emotions have a powerful influence on physical health. Cultivating a positive attitude, managing stress, and seeking emotional support when needed are actions that complement physical care and improve outcomes. Finally, the fifth key is continuous education. Staying informed, consulting professionals, and being open to new strategies allows adjusting the path toward health and avoiding stagnation. Jose exemplifies how, by integrating these keys and using an unexpected ally like sodium bicarbonate, it is possible to transform the aging experience and regain a full life filled with energy and confidence. In conclusion, real stories like Jose's remind us that aging is not an insurmountable obstacle, but a stage that can be lived with vitality and health. It is never too late to make conscious decisions, take advantage of available resources, and build a wellness narrative that accompanies us for many years. Throughout this journey, we have explored a set of elements that, integrated, allow us to understand and act to improve circulation and intimate health after 60 years. We have discovered that, although aging involves natural changes, it does not mean resigning to loss of vitality or limitations. Rather, it is an invitation to take control of one's well-being with accessible tools, knowledge, and an open mindset. Recapping the lessons helps consolidate what is essential to move forward with confidence and hope. First, we understood that poor circulation is a silent threat that affects not only the legs or chest, but also intimate function and cardiovascular health overall. Subtle symptoms often go unnoticed, but have a deep impact on quality of life. The importance of detecting and addressing these signs early was a key message to prevent uncontrolled deterioration. Next, we discovered a fundamental role of the endothelium and nitric oxide, those invisible guardians that regulate vascular health. Their deterioration with age explains much of poor circulation and associated problems, but also opens a window of opportunity to intervene naturally and effectively. Understanding how to care for and stimulate these elements is vital to maintain healthy circulation and sexual function. Erectile dysfunction, far from being an isolated problem, emerges as an early warning sign that can predict greater risks like heart attacks. The deep connection between circulation and intimate function forces us to view this symptom with greater attention and responsibility, promoting a comprehensive approach that includes body and mind. Mario Alonso Puig accompanied us during this exploration, contributing his integrative vision on mind-body relation and the importance of emotional connection in health. His holistic approach reminded us that the mind has enormous power to transform physical experience, that our beliefs and attitudes are allies or enemies on the path to well-being. Sodium bicarbonate appeared as an unexpected, accessible, and economical ally with potential to support circulation through pH regulation, inflammation reduction, and microcirculation improvement. Its use, however, must be responsible and supervised to avoid adverse effects and maximize benefits. We discuss recommended ways to consume it, proper doses, optimal timings, and necessary precautions so that sodium bicarbonate fulfills its function safely. We also reviewed populations who should avoid it and the importance of knowing contraindications to not risk health. In parallel, the importance of attitude and neuroplasticity taught us that at any age it is possible to reprogram a mind, change limiting beliefs, and adopt positive narratives about aging and health. These mental and emotional aspects enhance the effectiveness of any physical treatment, including the use of bicarbonate. Everyday micro-changes in mind-body integration from science and practical spirituality, with the inspiring approach of Mario Alonso Puig, offered us a framework to understand that health is an integral process where physical, mental, and spiritual interact and enhance each other. Jose's real transformative story showed us that it is never too late to regain energy and confidence, as long as we know what to do and how to do it. His experience is a living testimony that with commitment, consistency, and knowledge it is possible to overcome limitations and live fully. To close this journey, Mario Alonso Puig's words resonate with strength and clarity. He invites us to remember that health is not a passive state nor a marked destiny, but a dynamic process built day by day with our decisions, thoughts, and emotions. The mind not only influences physical health, but has the power to transform the reality we experience. Puig reminds us that we are complex beings, in whom mind and body are not separate compartments, but parts of an integrated whole. Caring for one without the other is insufficient to achieve true well-being. That is why personal work, self-observation, and self-compassion are as necessary as any medical treatment or supplement. Puig's approach also emphasizes the importance of attitude. Adopting a mindset of possibility, hope, and constant learning opens internal doors that facilitate change. Understanding that aging is not synonymous with decline, but with opportunity to reinvent oneself, is an invitation to live fully and with purpose. Finally, Mario Alonso Puig urges us to be active protagonists of our health, to listen to our bodies, honor our emotions, and seek harmony between mind and body. This integration is a key to living a rich, healthy, and satisfying life, regardless of age. Now that you know these tools and lessons, I invite you to take conscious action for your well-being. Start with small changes, incorporate healthy habits, care for your mind and body, and if you consider appropriate, explore the responsible use of sodium bicarbonate as an ally on your path toward better circulation and intimate health. If this information has been helpful, I encourage you to share your experiences, questions, or reflections in the comments. This is a space to support and grow together. Also, if you want to receive a special greeting in our next video, comment the word vitality. I will love to read you and accompany you on this journey toward health and fulfillment. Thank you for joining me on this path. Remember that your health is in your hands, and it is never too late to start caring for it with wisdom, love, and commitment. See you soon.